Hey everybody, this is Joe Turner. Before we hop into the episode, I'm going to give you the too long didn't read version. That is that I am extending the sign-up period for founding members of the American Association of Municipal Executives until Thursday, July 25th. That is right. You have until Thursday, July 25th. That's an extra week plus a day to get in on AAME as a founding member. I'm going to articulate why that is the case, why I'm doing this in this episode, and there you have it. So don't say you didn't hear. Don't say you didn't have time. Don't say I don't believe in second chances. The AAME is an absolute rocket ship. And if you want to be a part of this historic, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity like I've been talking about for the last several months, then you need to get in today. You need to sign up because this is the last call. All right. I'm Joe Turner, and this is the City Manager Unfiltered podcast, a podcast for city managers and other public sector executives. It is the most influential local government podcast in America, racking up over 200 ratings and reviews on the Apple Podcast platform, over 60 ratings on Spotify. We had over 90,000 downloads in year one, and we're getting ready to crack that 100,000 download mark. It has just been an amazing, exciting, rewarding, fulfilling, gratifying year. And I'm so blessed and fortunate to have you guys as supporters, as listeners, as followers. We're up over 15,000 followers on LinkedIn. I have the second most read local government newsletter on LinkedIn. It has amazing open rates. I mean, it's just been an amazing story. I'm just so truly blessed and fortunate to have you guys by my side walking this journey with me. And as you guys know, we have been working on launching the American Association of Municipal Executives over the last couple months. And when I say we, I'm referring to Micah Gaudet, Brandon Dross, and myself, the leadership team of AAME. We're getting this thing off the ground. We have launched it. And on June 17th, we officially opened the doors to registration for people to actually sign up, right? To sign on the get them to sign on the line that is dotted if you are a Glengarry Glen Ross fan, right? So we got folks signing up. They're coming in. And it's been an amazing 30 days. The original deadline to sign up and become a founding member of the AAME was Monday, but I've decided to extend that for another week or so, and I'm going to explain why in a minute, and I hope you guys appreciate and understand my reasoning because I had some mixed feelings about it. But before I get into why I'm extending the deadline and what the new deadline is going to be for those who want to be founding members, I want to articulate a few key points about this new environment that we're in, this new landscape. For more than 18 months or so now, I have been talking on LinkedIn and through this podcast about the paradigm shift that I saw coming to public administration, to the profession of city and county management. I just, when I looked at everything that's going on, the abuse that city managers and county managers are being subjected to, the volatility, the supply and demand imbalance when it comes to finding city managers who are willing to take the positions, just the political toxicity and divisiveness that's going on. It's just something had to give, right? Something's got to give. And that's why I felt like the paradigm shift was going to happen and why I've been so adamant about talking about it. It's easy for people who are just sort of tuning in now and following me today to think, oh, that's Joe Turner. He's got a LinkedIn following of 15,000 plus people. He's got the largest platform, 7 million in post impressions a year. He's got this podcast that's doing all this. He's got a newsletter that's the second most subscribed to newsletter in local government on LinkedIn. I know it sounds arrogant for me to say this, but the things that I've done have been impressive. I mean, they really have, obviously, and I'm not trying to be arrogant when I say that. It's just been an absolute amazing ride over the last 2 years to see my ascension to the place where I'm at now as one of the leading thought leaders in the profession. But it's easy to forget about when I was talking about this stuff when I had 1,000 followers, right? And barely anybody knew who I was. And it's easy for people to forget about the climb and just think about me being in my present situation. But, there was a time when I had very few followers. I didn't have a podcast, and I was out there saying some stuff that was pretty edgy, that was pretty controversial, that was ruffling some feathers. I wasn't taking the safe path, right? I was taking positions that many people felt and believed, but were not comfortable saying themselves or articulating themselves in the public domain. And that has helped me build this incredible trust in the faith and confidence of people in my audience, my network, who believe in me, because they know that I'm going to be an advocate for you, for them, the city manager, the county manager, the public sector executive. And I think that's truly why this launch of AAME has gone beyond my wildest expectations. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I was scared at the idea of launching this venture. I was afraid I was going to fall on my face. I was afraid people were going to laugh and not sign up, and I was going to look like a fool. Like, who is this guy, Joe Turner, who's beating the drum on all the failings of ICMA and bashing Baker Tilly? And then, look, nobody signs up. I would look like a clown show, right? It would have been a circus. I'm a carnival act at that point. So I was nervous about what the outcome was going to be of putting myself out there and asking people to join me on this mission to reimagine what a professional organization for city and county managers should look like. It's pretty audacious. I mean, honestly, it's pretty ballsy to be in my shoes here and think that I can make a substantive difference, and for me to go one step further and challenge the monopolistic hegemony of the ICMA when it comes to its dominance in the representation, if you will, of city and county managers throughout the country or throughout the world. But here we are 30 days in, and over 400 people signed up to be a part of the AAME. We are legit. We're a legitimate organization. We are well on our way to becoming a very effective professional organization for public sector executives that advocates on their behalf, that educates local government officials and the public about the rigors and challenges of this profession. The next comments that I make here might sound like I'm trying to bash the ICMA or tweak the ICMA or be critical of the ICMA. That's not it at all. I'm trying to make a matter-of-fact observation. And that is the age of dominance, monopolistic control, or presence within the city and county management profession that the ICMA has held for 100 plus years. It's over now. Those days are gone. The landscape has permanently changed. I've talked about the paradigm change that was coming, the paradigm shift. I've been talking about that for 18 plus months because, again, it was unsustainable what I was witnessing going on. And since I've started beating the drum over the last 2 years on LinkedIn and now the podcast, you're seeing more and more people on LinkedIn take a more vocal stand or position on things that bother them about recruiters, about the ICMA. You have innovators who are popping up like Bradley Ford, the Waco, Texas city manager who started City Compensation. He has the largest database of city manager contracts and financial data in the nation. You have Chad Hess, who's concerned about SaaS abuse and how vendors are bending over cities and taking advantage of them. He's got a website called SaaS Abuse, SAAS abuse.com. Both of them are founding members of the AAME. James Freed's a founding member of the AAME. Michael Penny, who is the chairman of the ICMA Credentialing Advisory Board, the CAB, he is a founding member of the AAME. In fact, we literally had a 5-hour conversation today for a podcast interview where we dissected the credential, the ICMA credential, what have you. That's going to be on future episodes of the podcast. And I don't want to get it twisted. He's a staunch supporter of the ICMA, so I'm not trying to create any sort of illusion that there's division there or not. He just believes that there's room for both organizations to exist, and I believe that is the case. But make no mistake, the AAME is a legitimate organization. I'm not going to say it's the Pepsi to the ICMA's Coca-Cola. We are over 400 strong, but we've only been doing this for 30 days. But we are going to get there. We are going to get there. We are going to be on par with the services and the value that we provide to our members in a very short period of time, because I believe that we have some of the best minds in the business who are either on the leadership team or who are founding members of the AAME. And if I were you, I would be racing to become a member of this organization. And that's probably a good segue for me to talk about why I'm extending the founding member sign-up deadline. Okay, I had some mixed feelings about this. My word is important to me, and I don't ever want people to think that I am being dishonest, that I'm being manipulative, that I'm playing games, that I'm insincere. I take great pride in saying what I mean and meaning what I say, and that if I give you my word, you can take it to the bank. And so I had to give a lot of thought to extending this deadline, and I'm going to explain my rationale for doing so. There are several reasons for why I'm going to extend the deadline, but I'm going to give you the main one first because it just gets down to treating people right and treating people fairly and not having a double standard. I don't want to have a double standard when it comes to how I treat people. So let me walk you through this for a second. I have been working my ass off for the last several weeks and especially the last week or so to get this organization off the ground and launched. I have literally been in contact with hundreds and hundreds of managers in some form or another, whether that's a personal phone call, whether that's text messaging, LinkedIn messages, email, carrier pigeon, bat signal. I've tried it all. Monday night, I was so tired. The night before, I literally had 3 hours sleep. It's like college days, pulling all-nighters for the most part, although I can't really pull a true all-nighter anymore. And I fell asleep without deactivating the sign-up forms. So when I woke up the next morning, I had a couple people pop through on the sign-up form who had registered. That was the first thing that I was like, I think I kind of screwed up there. But I actually deactivated the forms and I was going to cut it off and just call it a day. Because I said, hey, the deadline is Monday, and if you didn't get in by then you should have been in. That's your fault, not mine. I've done everything I could do to do the awareness campaign, the marketing, to get people in. Well, this software that I use for the website has been a pain in the butt in places, and it's one part been miscommunication between myself and the support staff and technical support, and I think in one part where I've just been given bad information. So the second aspect of this equation is that when I created the membership plans, one of the membership plans was created incorrectly, and I won't get into the weeds on it, but in order for me to do invoices so people could pay with invoice instead of a credit card, I selected this option as I was instructed to do. I built this membership plan, and it created a free trial mechanism. Well, unbeknownst to me at the time that I created it, in order to get access to this plan, even though it was a free trial, members who signed up still had to put a credit card in. So a bunch of members signed up and put the credit card in, but that was never the intent. They were never supposed to be billed with the credit card. And then what I was told, by tech support that I could just literally migrate these people from the current plan with that credit card and the free trial over to another plan that was created later at a later date properly. Okay. Well, fast forward to today, and I learned that when I'm trying to go transfer these individuals to the new plan that doesn't involve the credit card, because their credit card is going to start being charged today as you're listening to this podcast and on, because it's a 30-day trial mark was expiring, I learned that it was impossible to do that. So the front-facing staff, kind of like the sales staff, was telling me it could be done, but then when I dug into the weeds and got into technical support, they said, no, you can't do that. The only way you can basically have these people put on another plan is they have to cancel their membership, cancel their subscription, their credit card subscription, and then re-enroll under a different plan. Okay, that was a nerve-wracking kind of experience because I have a lot of people who signed up on these other plans that were constructed improperly originally by me. So in order for me to put them back on the plan, I had to tell these individuals to cancel their subscription and then go reapply on the existing plan that I had changed to get in. And in order for me to do that, I had to activate the plan so people could get back into the website. When I did that, a couple other people joined today in the process that were not there at the time of the original deadline. So now I had additional people kind of sneaking in the back door after the deadline. And I'm like, that kind of weighed on me a little bit. And then as the day went on, I kept getting messages either on LinkedIn or text messages from managers who said, hey, I'm sorry. I really want to be a part of it. I didn't blow you off. I've been really busy. There's Hurricane Beryl for some folks with the hurricane fallout. I've had another manager or two talk about a federal disaster in their area that's occupied their time. I had another county manager tell me that their 911 system went down and they just didn't have time to work on it because they're putting out fires. And, on and on with all these different situations. You also just had folks say, you know what, Joe, I just forgot. I'm sorry. I really want to be a part of it. I really want to be a founding member. I just completely forgot. It slipped by me on Monday. And can I still get in? And then I'm going to throw another one at you guys. Many of you guys will remember that back on May 1st, during that original podcast announcement with Micah, we talked about how you needed to sign up to sign up on a Google form, a Google interest form, in order to get on the list or to become a member. And many people who have signed up on that list, and because we had a few hundred people sign up to be members of the AAME through that Google form, they were under the impression that because they filled out that form, that they were members, that they were in, that everything was done, and that I was going to send them an invoice, and that they would have to pay the invoice at a later date. They didn't understand that there was a separate website you're going to have to log into. All this other stuff, right? So there's been quite a few people who are confused about that. And when I look back on it, honestly, I can see how it's a little confusing. So there's that. And then two more things. During that May 1st launch on the podcast, I believe, and it was also on the AAME.org website for a time, I had 2 free plans for retirees and managers in transition, meaning that if you are a retired city manager and you want to be a part of the organization, we were going to give you free access to the site, free membership as being a founding member, because we were trying to recruit retirees to come in and be mentors to some of the young, inexperienced managers who have joined the organization, and to also help the aspiring managers on their journey to becoming city and county managers. Also, I wanted to be an ally, a friend, a supporter to the managers in transition. And if you're a manager in transition, oftentimes you're struggling financially because you're eating through your severance package. So I created a membership plan for MITs, and it was free. So fast forward to the launch of the organization on June 17th, and we took down the Google form, and I didn't create a specific plan that was public facing for the retirees and the MITs. My thought process was, hey, if you're following me, if you're really involved with what I'm doing and you want to be associated with what I'm doing with the organization and you like my content, then you would have heard about it and you would have signed up. The other thing is, I didn't want a bunch of retirees and MITs to flood our membership ranks, and I didn't want to create a fake organization where, all the members who signed up are on the free plans. And over the process of me talking about AAME and all my LinkedIn posts and the podcast, people started hitting me up and saying, hey, do you have anything for MITs? Do you have anything for retirees? I really want to get involved. And then dawned on me, you know what? I shut it down early because I was like, I thought everyone heard about it and that was enough. And so I said, okay, well, if you've asked about it here, then I'll give you a link for you to sign up. And we did that. But at the end of the day, I know there's a lot of retirees and MITs that still want to be a part of the organization, but didn't know that was really an option. On top of that, we have a lot of aspiring city managers who, for whatever reason, didn't realize that we had an aspiring executive tier for them to sign up on. And that's another reason why I'm just going to give a mulligan and open up the doors. So long story short, those are all the reasons and excuses for why I've decided to extend the deadline for another week. We're going to do actually another 8 days. So if you want to be part of the AAME, if you want to be a founding member, you have until Thursday, July 25th to get in. And the reason why I'm not doing Wednesday, July 24th is because I'm traveling that day, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the computer to deactivate the plan. So we're going to make it July 25th. You have until Thursday, July 25th. I'm going to take the links down around midnight Central Time. Okay? So you have about till midnight Central Time, July 25th. It's a Thursday next week to get in and be a founding member of the AAME. This is the last call. The train is leaving the station. If you want to get on board, choo-choo, then let's do it. Oh, one more thing before we wrap up this episode. I've had several people reach out to me and say, Joe, I really would like to be a member of the AAME, but I can't right now. Just finances are tight. And, is there something else I can do? Can I volunteer in lieu of dues or something like that? And I've made accommodations because this is about building a community of people who are passionate about the idea of having a professional association that is there to represent and protect and advocate on behalf of city managers as people. And there's nobody else out there doing it. So if you support the vision of this organization, but for whatever reason, you don't have the means to join, it's just too tough right now financially, I get it. Don't let that stop you. Please reach out. Please reach out and let me know your situation, and we can make an accommodation. Because I don't want to see anybody who truly believes in what I'm trying to accomplish excluded from being a part of it. Now, obviously, I don't want people taking advantage of this and exploiting this loophole. But if you are sincere and you can't really make it work, or you can't justify it in your current circumstances, I totally get it. I've been there. I've been in hard times. But if you're sincerely interested in joining and you don't have the means to do so, it's just too tough and you can't justify it, or you need to defer payment for a while, or whatever the case may be, please reach out. I don't want you to get left behind. This is too important. What we're doing here is too important and too significant for those who really want to be involved to not be involved simply because they don't have the means to do so financially. And on that note, that's a wrap for this episode. I'm Joe Turner. This is the City Manager Unfiltered Podcast, a podcast for city managers and public sector executives. If you are a fan of the program and you have not left a rating and review on Apple or Spotify or whatever platform you use, if you have not hit that follow or subscribe button, please do so today. It's a small ask, but I really would appreciate your support.